Hello, champions. Happy Monday. I hope you're having an amazing day. And if someone has shared this or you've stopped by this page, I want to welcome you and acknowledge you. It's my belief that when we can come together at least once a week and learn together and grow together, we can do amazing things in the world. My name is Susan Sly, and I am a productivity and balanced living expert. And on these trainings, I cover topics that will help you succeed, especially in business and in life. So with that, I have a question for you. Is your fear of leadership superseding your desire for results? So what I mean by this question is so often in the people that I mentor and I train, they get stuck in a place called comfortably uncomfortable. And on one hand, they're saying, yes, I want results. I want to make more money. I want to be successful. I want to grow a business. And on the other hand, they're so stuck in their ways of being that they just refuse to change. And as a result, they stay stuck. They stay in the same place. And in order to succeed in business, regardless if you're a solopreneur or if you own a small business, you are going to have to lead at some time, and it isn't easy, right? It isn't easy. So in this training, we're going to talk about 8 aspects of leadership. And I was meditating on this training yesterday morning, and I've taken some notes to share with all of you. And it's my goal that you will really step into your power and become the leader that you're destined to be. A couple of quick announcements. First and foremost, my class, Organize Your Life. That's where I teach the fundamentals of organization. That starts in January, but don't buy it. Don't go on my website, susansly.com, and buy it. We're going to put it on sale one day only, Turbo Tuesday. It's the Tuesday before American Thanksgiving. And so don't buy it, but you can check it out on susansly.com. I want to do a shout out to my Infusionsoft clients, my company, Step Into Your Power. We have a sub company called Step Into Your Power Business Solutions. And we have some amazing people, Jessica Leikowitz, Riel Andrews, Johnny Wall, who are just doing some incredible things with taking their businesses to the next level. I love you guys. I'm so proud of you, and thanks for just being so coachable. So let's get into it. So how many of you know you need to step up your leadership in order to create better results? And in the chat box, just go ahead and chat it. Oh, thank you, Gretchen, for the compliment. Hey, yes. Oh my gosh. Hey, Nina, it's great to see you. So how many of you know? I'm seeing a lot of you. You know you need to step it up. And how many of you are afraid? There's something about leadership that is so uncomfortable. And maybe it's the fear of people judging you, or maybe it's the fear of putting yourself out there, or maybe it's the fear of being uncomfortable, whatever it is. And as an NLP coach and trainer, one of the things I teach on is that there are only 2 fears that we're born with. And that's one, the fear of loud noises, and the other is the fear of falling. So any other fears you've created are definitely fears that you have learned over time, and they've either come through observation or experience. And I will tell you, as someone who is naturally an introvert, if you can believe it, over time, there have been times that I've had to lead, and leading has meant having difficult conversations with people, firing people, having conflict resolution, being a leader when I was 21 years old and didn't have a clue really what I was doing, but people were looking to me for guidance. And over the course of my life, it hasn't always been easy. And the other thing with leaders is the most challenging thing is, yes, leaders make the most money, but leaders also take the most arrows. And so it's natural if you're resisting it, because it's a lot safer to stay stuck and say, yeah, I don't want to put myself out there. I don't want to lead. I'd rather play small because it's safe. And here's the thing I want to tell you, my friends, there is no safety in what you perceive as your comfort zone. And I'll say that again, there is no safety in what you perceive as your comfort zone. Because as long as you're in a position where you're not growing and you're not serving and you're not stepping into your leadership, you're actually in a place that can be quite detrimental. Because the more time we spend focusing on all of the things we aren't, we put a lot of stress on ourselves. But do you remember the last time you felt so joyful? You know, just this, in French, there's a saying, the joie de vivre, like this joy of living. Probably you were learning something new. you had created something new. Maybe you did skydiving. Maybe you built a website. Maybe you ran your first 5K, whatever it was, that exhilaration, feeling alive. But I'll tell you something that I can trace it back to the fact that you had courage to make that move. And that's leadership in its finest form. So with that, let's get into some of the thoughts. And in doing these Facebook Lives, I love to tell you that, they're all rehearsed and contrived and lit and done everything. But actually, no, one of my mentors, Harvey McKay, he wrote Swim with the Sharks or Get Eaten Alive. And Harvey's just a beautiful soul, 7 New York Times bestsellers. He's in his 80s. Every time I meet with him, I always bring a notebook, and he's not afraid when he's teaching to read from notes. And so today I'm going to read from notes because that's what you deserve. You deserve for me to list all of these thoughts that I've shared and prepared for you. So the first one around leadership is really around courage, right? When we think about being a leader, at some point we are going to have the courage to change. And some of you are comfortably uncomfortable. You're going through life, you're going through the motions, you're going through your job, you're in your relationship, you eat the same things, you watch the same things. In fact, you'll probably watch the same movie more than one time because you want that certainty of the experience you're going to have. And it takes a lot of courage to change. And the only way to change is really to challenge yourself to do it. Okay. And some of you are like, Susan, I just wish you could live with me and motivate me. You don't need me to motivate you. In fact, I was doing a leadership training last Friday and I said, how many of you came here because you want me to motivate you? And everyone's putting their hand up and I'm like, you don't need me to motivate you. Motivation is like a sugar high. But if I can inspire you to have that courage to change, then I've done my job. And it's the same thing for all of you. So when I think about courage and courageous leadership, I really think about those people who are out there and they're so willing to put themselves out there. They're so willing to be vulnerable. And I love Brene Brown is doing such great work on vulnerability. And go ahead, write this down if you're taking notes. There's a massive difference between vulnerability and weakness. In vulnerability, we're having this beautiful self-actualization and this humility, whereas weakness, we're asking for help and we're having that tendency to be the victim. And so a leader shows up with courage in their vulnerability and they say things like, yes, I'm going in this direction. I want you to come with me. And the truth is, I've never been there and I'm scared, but will you still come with me? That is a beautiful, courageous leader. Even learning new things takes courage, right? And to pivot, to change. Adam Markell's book, Pivot, I love that book. It's going to be on my holiday reading list this year. In Markell's book, he pivots from this exhausted, overwhelmed lawyer to helming a personal development company. And was he a personal development trainer before? No, but he had the courage to say, I believe in this. I believe in this vision. And a lot of his friends thought he was a complete idiot, but it was courageous. And so when you think about leaders, there's going to be an aspect of courage there. And I want you to have that courage to put yourself out there, to perhaps present yourself as your authentic self and let go of what you think people, think of you and just be you. And do that, right? And as you grow companies, you're going to have people who come out of the woodwork and say critical things. However, there's a courage in just continuing to go and continuing to grow and continuing to do it day after day. The second thing about being a great leader is really around patience. And, one of the things I wrote is that to have this patience, there's so many people that want this instant gratification. I see a lot of people that want to take the stage and they want to be a stage trainer. They want to be a personal development trainer and they're making like $100 in their business and suddenly they're the next Tony Robbins. It takes patience because with patience comes a tremendous degree of wisdom. And that isn't about an age. I see a lot of impatient people who are in their 50s, 60s, and 70s. Patience for the journey. Brendon Burchard, who I've had the privilege to spend some time with on a couple of occasions, he got to this point where he's sitting on his girlfriend's bed and he's like, I don't want to be in this place anymore. But he had to have patience to learn the things to become that man that he is now, Oprah's life coach. And it's the same thing with Tony Robbins. Here was this guy doing his dishes in his bathtub and he was, he decided I'm going to change, but it didn't happen overnight. Tony Robbins didn't become Tony Robbins overnight. He was patient. And that's the thing. What lifetime are you going to dedicate to this pursuit of leadership? And you heard me right, that nuance. It's not about overnight. And so many people will give up up, and they never live into the leader they can be because they're not patient. The third thing is fortitude. This is different than patience. When I think about fortitude, I think about Nelson Mandela, who endured prison for decades. Here's this man that, what a beautiful leader, changed the whole course of a country. But he had the fortitude to endure prison, the fortitude to do battle with his mind. And we see Nelson Mandela, and if you've read his biography or known any of the stories, he was this political activist and he was arrested. And one of the things that he had to have was the fortitude to go through the process of saying, you know what, my anger and my angry actions aren't going to create the same kind of change as my peaceful fortitude, right? And so are you willing to have the fortitude? Are you willing to deal with your critics? Are you willing to have the fortitude to day in, day out, do the things that you don't want to do? Do I want to do Facebook Lives every Monday? No, and as a woman, I'm going to tell you very honestly, as a guy can show up, no makeup, just do the Facebook Lives. For women, we're so much more critical of other women. Right? And so, it's that fortitude to say, you know what, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it day in, day out, whether people watch it or not. I have some things to share. I have some wisdom to impart. I want to help people. I want to help the world. I want to shift and help people to change in a positive way. Do I want to do it? No, but I have fortitude. When I did the Ironman in Malaysia with a fractured pelvis, I had fortitude. And to be a leader, you've got to have fortitude, and you've got to endure and endure and endure. And is it exhausting? Yes. And are we most exhausted right before that breakthrough? You better believe it. The next thing, number 4, is humility. Great leaders have tremendous humility. Steve Jobs, when he was ousted from Apple, he had to get humble. And then he came back and he did things in a different way. It's the same thing with Howard Schultz at Starbucks. He decides to step back, and he had to have some humility. And so the greatest leaders on the planet are able to be humble enough to be able to be introspective. And as Jim Collins wrote in the book Good to Great, I love that book, is a great leader, when things are going well, they look externally. When things are not going well, they look internally. And if you want a powerful book on leadership, Good to Great is a phenomenal one, especially if you have a staff or any form of a company. The next one is results. Leadership is also driven by results. People will follow you for a time, but at some point you've got to show up with the results. So when I'm here and I'm doing these trainings, some of you are here because I've been successful in a particular industry. Some of you might be here because you like to follow me because I'm a mom, or some of you might be here because you know that I'm 17 years into an MS diagnosis and I've transcended that, and that's the result. One person can have a variety of results. As a leader, at some point, you are going to have to prove your results. And so you can prove the results in a couple of ways. Number one, by what you accomplish yourself. However, more prolific in leadership is, and this comes from the Bible, wisdom shall be known by her children. So if you're in a profession, and some of you are in a profession that you build sales teams, at some point, what results are your people producing? Some of you are in a profession where maybe you're doing tech, and one of my companies, we do tech. So for me, if what I'm saying is true, what results are my students and clients producing? Right? In my other company, Accelerate, what results are my coaching clients producing? Are they having their breakthroughs? I was actually on with one of our students today, and she was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited for what you and Lisa are doing in the world. And this is so amazing. And I've taken other coaching programs. I'm having these massive breakthroughs. So those things don't feed my ego. Those are nice. What they do feed is this question I ask myself as a leader, is what I'm doing producing results? The next thing is certainty. Great leaders provide certainty, and they provide certainty in the following ways. Write these down, please. Number one, they're consistent, right? They're consistent. Number two, they provide certainty because they are feeding a human desire, right? So a great leader will feed the human desire, and maybe that desire is for love. Maybe that desire is for money. Maybe that desire is for community. And, when you think about Martin Luther King, I have a dream. He was providing certainty and that when people were showing up to see Dr. King or to be around him or to gather and follow him, they were certain that they would feel passionate about a cause. If that makes sense, let me know. Show me. Does that make sense? And so when you think about great leaders, what aspect of certainty are they creating? And if you want to be a great leader, it's about that consistency. So you can't join a company and be there for 3 months and leave. You're not a leader. You cannot be on a stage and training something and not be living into it. You can't be that person who stands on a stage and like, I never swear, and then all of your friends hear you drop the F-bomb, right? You have to provide certainty, and you're providing that certainty in the experience that you're creating. There's, my family and I, we go to a certain church, and one of the reasons we go to this church is for this one pastor, and every Sunday, we are certain that the following things will occur. Number one, we'll be uplifted. Number two, we're going to laugh. And number three is we're going to feel welcome. And that's why we go, because we're certain of that experience. And he's a great leader. And it's the same thing for you. Anyone you're following, any books you're reading, sometimes we'll buy a book just because it has a nice cover. However, if we're buying a book for a certain author, it's because of that certainty we want that author to create for us. I have two more. And the next one is, great leaders are impeccable in their word. And I was re-listening to the 4 agreements yesterday. I was doing a long run yesterday, not super long, but it was long enough to listen to the 4 agreements. And the first one is be impeccable with your word. And that means whatever you say you're going to do, you do it. And you don't mess around and you're all over the place. You're just impeccable with that word. And to be a great leader, I would rather have you say fewer things, give fewer commitments, and live into all of those than commit to a lot of things and live into none of them. Does that make sense? So where can you be impeccable in your word? Where can you live into whatever it is you're saying? And as you begin to shift that, then people begin to respect that. Now you're providing certainty and you're creating the result for people. And the last one is that great leaders are coachable. Every great leader I know is coachable to someone. They have a mentor. The scariest thing I see with people is when they think they know it all. They want to be a leader, but they know everything. And you will never be a great leader if you're not coachable to someone. Every great leader in the history of the world had a mentor, someone they were inspired by, someone they followed their advice. I think of Jack Canfield, who's a great teacher of leaders and endorsed my book, The Have It All Woman, many years ago. And Jack was coachable to Bucky Fuller. That was his mentor. So was Mark Victor Hansen. So who are you going to be coachable to? And that's the question when it comes to leadership. So I want to finish. Hopefully these thoughts were good for you today on this Monday. I read all of your comments, every single one of them. I want to finish with this. Wayne Dyer, who I think was a beautiful teacher and a leader of leaders, Wayne used to say that ego stood for edging God out. And if you want to be a great leader, you cannot have a massive ego. And we've seen what happens when leaders have big egos. They do horrible things in the world. So with that, I encourage you to step into your leadership and go out there and create some beautiful change in the world, and stop fearing being the leader that you were destined to be, and instead embrace it, surrender, and go for it. And with that, I love you. Check out my website, susansly.com. I would love to connect with you. And if this has been beneficial to you, I would love for you to share it. And with that, I will see you next Monday. Goodbye, everyone.